And welcome to the Pride of Detroit podcast, the POD cast, as we so cleverly call it. My name is Jeremy Reisman. I am the editor-in-chief at Pride of Detroit and your substitute adequate host. You can follow me at Detroit Online. With me, we have our normal co-host. And I say normal in that he's a regular, not that he's a normal person. He is much more than normal that. He's your rock god. He is Ryan Matthews. At Ryan_POD. How we doing, Ryan?
I'm doing pretty normal. How are you?
Yes, I would say normal. I mean, listen, things are off to a weird start. I'm uncomfortable. I'm in the hosting chair. I don't know what to do. I host our two other podcasts on this network of podcasts that we have, but for some reason, this makes me more uncomfortable than the other two, and I don't know what to do about it.
This makes you more uncomfortable than being live on the Spotify Green Room app?
Yes. The Spotify Locker Room Green Room app, sponsored by Spotify Music and Podcasts.
Presented by Mountain Dew.
Presented by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. We're not just going to have a two-man show today. We want to keep the three-man balance here and to tip the scales so that we're evenly balanced. This is a weird analogy. Mike Payton is here. At POD_Payton. Mike, how you doing? Welcome back to the podcast.
It's kind of abnormal because I'm here, but really I just came on because I want to know if there's like a promo code that I can get some Baja Blast off that locker room, green room thing. We got a promo code for that?
We're working on it. All right. Ryan's eyes lit up. I'm not entirely sure why.
Well, just once we figure out the app, then we'll figure out whether or not we can offer any promo codes. But we have to figure out the app first.
We do, but those are very fun. Might as well throw in a little plug for it at the top here. Those Spotify Green Room is the new name of the app. It's the same thing as our Locker Room apps. If you've been listening to our live Q&As, we do them every Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. But we're not here to do a live Q&A. We are here to podcast, and we have quite a show for you this week. We are continuing Listcast a little bit later, talking about the top 10 edge defenders in the NFL today. Will any lines make the list? We'll see. But before we do that, we are going to start with a topic as old as time, a topic that I fear as soon as I say the words, half of you are going to skip ahead, which is fine. I'm not going to take it personally. But we're going to tackle this in a way that I don't think we've talked about before, and that is Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson talked again this week with our friends over at Woodward Sports Network. Obviously, he's doing the rounds to plug his marijuana strain and all that sort of stuff. But as it always does, his relationship with the Lions came up, and we got a little bit of new information this time. And that new information being that the man asked for a trade. He said pretty much straight up, when he was preparing to retire after the 2015 season, he says, "We asked if they would release me or let me go to another team. Quote, they wouldn't." So this begs an interesting question, because we just dealt with a player who requested a trade out of Detroit, and I think it was handled a little bit more clean that time around. And I want to throw this to Mike first, because I know you actually have a column running on Pride of Detroit on Tuesday about this. So what are your thoughts on how, I guess just the differences in the situation? Why were the Lions able to so cleanly break from Matthew Stafford, yet they bungled everything with Calvin Johnson? And it's interesting because the fan reaction is quite different to both as well, right? Like, people don't like Calvin Johnson right now, but the way things ended with Matthew Stafford was as clean as possible, I think.
Look, it's the same exact thing. I don't know why we should dislike Calvin Johnson. He gave everything to the Lions organization, and he wanted to leave. It's the same thing Stafford did. Why are we cool with Stafford and we're not cool with Calvin? But that's beside the point. I think the big major difference here is you got Bob Quinn dealing with the Calvin Johnson situation, and then you've got Brad Holmes dealing with the Matthew Stafford situation. Obviously Brad Holmes, he comes in, he's got an idea for a rebuild. The Matthew Stafford trade really helped him, despite wanting to keep Stafford at first, like I think any GM would have wanted to. But Bob Quinn, the smartest guy that ever existed, smartest dude in the room, I don't know if this was incompetence. Just maybe they tried to hold Calvin back. They tried to. What am I trying to say here? They blocked his trade in an effort to maybe sway him to stay in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that burnt them in the end. But I don't know if it burnt them more than what they could have gotten if they would have traded him, considering what you look at. Brandon Cooks brought in twice for two different teams, got a first round pick. Amari Cooper got a first round pick for Oakland, or Las Vegas rather. I mean, it goes on. Stephon Diggs got multiple picks, 4 draft picks that the Vikings got for Stephon Diggs. I mean, Calvin Johnson is arguably one of the best receivers, top 3 of all time. He would have netted the Lions an amazing draft haul and probably a player or two. And I just think that they completely screwed up their entire run, their entire future, for just to save a couple bucks, it seems.
What are your thoughts, Ryan?
Well, I think what Mike brings up is interesting in the sense that there are some things that are running parallel in both of these situations. You have 2 guys, you have Bob Quinn and you have Brad Holmes, who were both first-time GMs, just stepping into the chair, just getting into these situations. Now, if we pull things back a little bit further, this was an article that Jeremy shared with us earlier in the day to kind of refresh our memories. But everybody's favorite Carlos came out with an article in November of 2015 of surrounding the trade deadline in that season, and it was point blank asked to Calvin Johnson, do you want to be here? Do you want to stay in Detroit? And he said, I haven't asked for a trade. Like I want to be in Detroit. This is where I love my teammates. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to win. Now I completely understand how things can change from that 1-7 start that the Lions started with in 2015 to where they ended. I mean, actually, they kind of like turned their season around.
Yeah.
It was, one of the most impressive things that I think Jim Caldwell maybe did over the course of his tenure here in Detroit when it comes to, his coaching resume here. But I see so many things parallel between just the situations themselves, but the handlings are completely different. And I don't know if it's, you have to boil it down to Bob Quinn versus Brad Holmes. I don't think that you can even really throw in the whole Rod Wood element to it, because Rod Wood is something that has been consistent since then to now as well. So
he was new though. To be fair, that was Rod Wood's like second month on the job or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe he's learned, but at the same time, if he's learned since then, what has Bob Quinn really just drawn some kind of line in the sand against Calvin Johnson like the entire time he was in Detroit from 2016 through 2020? He just said like, no, we're not going to do this, because if it wasn't a Bob Quinn thing, then it had to have been a Rod Wood thing, and if it wasn't a Rod Wood thing, then who the hell is to blame for why the Lions bungled this Calvin Johnson situation? Because at the end of the day, you have one superstar who was able to go out on his terms the way that he wanted to, mutual agreement where the Lions got what they wanted, Stafford got what he wanted. Calvin Johnson didn't get what he wanted, and he got stuff taken from him too on top of that. So here's the thing with Calvin Johnson. I still can't blame him for the way that he feels. And I know Dave Burkett kind of accelerated things, and maybe he pushed on the gas a little bit too hard when he said, things were, nearing a resolution between the Lions and Calvin Johnson. But I totally get why Calvin Johnson isn't, back into the fold, as they're saying. So I don't know. I think Bob Quinn was an adequate GM at best. I just don't understand why you want to puff your chest out and draw that proverbial line in the sand when it comes to a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I exactly. And I think there was a conflict from the start. Calvin goes to Bob Quinn. He asks for a trade. Bob says no. They block him in an effort to try to get him to stay. And all they really did was just piss him off. And I think it's the same exact thing that the Packers are about to go through, because they're doing the same thing to Aaron Rodgers. And well, Aaron Rodgers might be host of Jeopardy soon. Who knows? I mean, like it's the same type of thing. It's you're just pissing off the player in order to try to maintain some sort of control over the situation. And it's not working out. It didn't work out, and it made things way worse in the end.
Jeremy, is how much is the Patriot way to blame for this?
I don't know.
Like, in all seriousness.
Yeah, I don't think I would go that far. Because the one thing we have to bring up is this isn't an apples to apples comparison with Stafford and Calvin Johnson. The teams are in two very different places. They retained Jim Caldwell in 2016. They still thought they could contend, and having Calvin Johnson on their team is probably the difference between still being in contention for a playoff spot and not being in contention at all for a playoff spot. So I think the Lions doing whatever they can to keep Calvin Johnson made sense at the time. But if he made it clear, and obviously he followed through on that he wasn't playing in Detroit. He was either retiring or getting cut or getting traded. Then you have to make a move, and maybe that's it. Maybe they're playing the Packers game and they're stubborn. They thought they would win this game of chicken, and they didn't. And then there's also like the financial aspect of it, right? Like Calvin Johnson had just a few years before it signed a mega extension. That's not going to be an easy contract to move for a guy in his 30s, for a guy who's gone through all the injuries that he has. Certainly, I think there's a team that's eventually going to pay for it. Like Mike said, like teams shell out for wide receivers, and some of those wide receivers he named before were on big contracts. But it's probably not quite as easy of a transaction as I think the Matthew Stafford one was. That all being said, yeah, this is stubbornness on the Lions' part. This is another sign that they bungled things from the beginning with Calvin Johnson once Bob Quinn took over and Rod Wood took over, and that whole regime just kind of their inexperience showed off from the get-go, and maybe that's another reason to pat Brad Holmes on the back, is that he was put into a very unique situation, very tough situation, and handled it like a pro from the beginning. But to me, this is more about just how badly the Lions bungled things with Calvin Johnson, and whether he has a right to be upset still or not. That's a topic I don't really. I think we've bled that one to death. But I think it is interesting to kind of look back on the decision for the Lions to just drag their feet there and criticize it, because I do think they made a mistake.
I think if you're a Lions fan, you got to feel a little bit better about your situation right now, because the difference here is that you've got Brad Holmes, who, and I don't want to say that he was doing 5D chess or whatever, or chess, not chest, 5D chess. I don't want to say he's the most brilliant man in the world, but like, here's a guy who could clearly see ahead that, all right, Matthew Stafford doesn't want to be here. That sucks, but we can probably use him to get a ton of assets, versus Bob Quinn, who comes from that Patriot way. It's a little bit more like, hey, we're in control of everything. The players don't have the control here. It's all about us. They'll do what we say. And things are just already going smoother with this rebuild. So I think fans should feel optimistic about that, at least.
Two things. One, obviously hindsight's 20/20, but you just look at what the Atlanta Falcons were able to do with Julio Jones.
Sure.
I mean, that's a guy who's on a pretty expensive contract too, and he's older than Calvin Johnson, so
hasn't been playing well.
Yeah, I mean, hasn't been having the kind of seasons that Calvin had towards the end of his career. But I think that in and of itself, again, like a new GM, Terry Fontenot came in there from the Saints, was able to make that deal and
Sure.
move things along with Julio Jones just fine. So I truly believe that there's this element of Bob Quinn coming in here and trying to, run the show the way that he had seen it done before in New England. And then the other thing is just kind of a throw it out there question, but like, how much would the narrative change if Brad Holmes ends up accepting the Carolina deal? And maybe that isn't Matthew Stafford's first choice. He obviously wanted to go to the Rams. But does the narrative around Brad Holmes change a little bit? Like, obviously Matthew Stafford doesn't go out to the media and
Right.
voice how disgruntled he
No.
is for getting traded to Carolina, because that's the last thing that dude would do. I mean, maybe Kelly would, but sorry, I have to get all my shots.
There you go.
But I mean, like, does that change like who Brad Holmes is to the Lions fan base? Like,
No.
is everything so rosy? No.
I don't think it changed. I mean, as long as the Lions get a good return, and they would have with Carolina, and like you said, Matthew Stafford would have been fine publicly about it. Maybe we don't get as many love stories about Matthew Stafford and his head coach like we are currently with Sean McVay. But yeah, no, I think it would have worked out just fine in terms of like the public perception. But to go back to the Calvin Johnson thing really quick, like I think one of the underrated, frustrating parts about this, and Lions fans probably don't care too much about this, is that this means we lost extra years of Calvin Johnson playing football. And that sucks, because I would have loved to see a 10th season from Calvin Johnson. I would have loved to see him, like, I know he made the Hall of Fame anyways, but I would have loved to see him maybe get in the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game, maybe put to bed some other records and not have any sort of conversation about whether his longevity means he wasn't worthy of a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I mean, I know it's been 5-6 years now. Like, Calvin Johnson was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. He made Lions football fun to watch, even when there wasn't team success. And knowing that the Lions were mainly responsible for not being able to get a couple more years out of him is depressing, because guess what? Like, at the time, we're like, no, this isn't like the Barry situation at all. Sorry, it is almost completely, almost identically like the Barry Sanders situation 10 years before it. And now maybe it's a good sign of the times that the Lions have finally broke that cycle with Matthew Stafford, but like, we have come full circle with the Calvin Johnson thing. We know just about everything except for maybe the Lions' point of view of why they didn't trade him, why they didn't cut him at the time. But at this point, it's almost identical to the Barry Sanders situation, and now the Lions, like, we can't fight that narrative as fans that like we ruined the careers of two of the best players, offensive players in NFL history, and that's frustrating. But like I said, maybe they finally broke the cycle with Matthew Stafford.
Well, I think the one other thing, Jeremy, I think you bring up a great point, because here's the thing with Calvin Johnson and why it totally doesn't upset me that he went from saying, no, I want to be a part of this football team, I like playing with the guys that I'm with, this, that, and the other thing, I'm loyal to being a winner here in Detroit in November, and then 2 months later he's talking about wanting to get a trade. Calvin Johnson saw the writing on the wall. Like, I mean, he probably really, I mean, ask Calvin Johnson if he liked playing for Jim Caldwell, and I bet that he would say yes.
Sure.
Okay. With Mayhew coming out and then with Bob Quinn coming in, I think Calvin Johnson saw the writing on the wall, and he was like, another rebuild? Like, I'm 30. Like, this is a guy who talked about the reason why he retired is because his body was just, like, incapable of sustaining all of the, brutal, blunt force trauma that it was taking to it. Like, I mean, it totally makes sense. I mean, Calvin Johnson is in the right here, and the Lions were totally in the wrong, and they're going to be in the wrong until they get things figured out and situated, and Calvin Johnson is, back in the fold, and he's doing things like team events, and he's, thumping for the Lions.
For as much as we focus on like lying season and GMs lying about stuff and coaches lying about stuff, we always ignore the players lying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe that Calvin Johnson in November of a 1-7 season was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here. I love this town and blah blah blah. Look, like, Calvin loves Detroit. I have no doubt about it. There's a reason he keeps coming back to talk to our media, and he lives here. I mean, he doesn't love the Lions right now, but he loves the city of Detroit, and that's cool. But I think that was lip service in November during the trade deadline. I think he knew that he was going to get out at some point in time. He at least wanted to maybe finish the season with his teammates who he had been with for so many years. But, yeah, I mean, I just have such a hard time believing pro athletes when they say they want to be here or they want to stay here. I mean, it was the same exact thing with Ndamukong Suh. He did it all year long, and that he hopped the first ship smoking to Miami, and I mean, it just constantly happens. And
it happened with Matthew Stafford too. Do you remember a year ago when like Kelly Stafford posted that Instagram saying like, we ain't going nowhere? Like, yeah, like, we love Detroit, like, we want to lift it. Yeah, you're right. Like, it's definitely at least, and maybe with Matthew Stafford it did change with the regime change, like maybe it changed with Calvin, but yeah, I think you're definitely onto something there.
Yeah, it's just, we should not be expecting these people to tell us the truth.
Yeah. All right, let me close thing up with a quote from Calvin Johnson directly on this topic. He says, you know what? It sucked that they didn't let me go, but they let Matthew go. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not mad at Matthew. I love Matthew. There it is. Well,
I think you can believe that.
You can definitely believe that.
Yeah,
that seems truthful. All right, and with that, we are going to take a close on the Calvin Johnson era, hopefully for good. Obviously, we'll talk about him a little more when the Pro Football Hall of Fame stuff happens, but hopefully some of the drama is out of the way. When we come back, though, we're going to bring in some drama, some listcast drama, as we list our top 10 edge defenders in the NFL today. So stick with us. We'll be right back on the PODcast. All right, let's take it to the break.
Is Calvin Johnson going to wear the NFL Shield hat when he gets inducted?
The Rob Lowe one?
The Rob Lowe.
The Rob Lowe special. Chat, am I too hot? It looks like I'm peaking. I'm going to turn myself down a little bit.
Peak less.
This guy's confident over here.
I am. Okay, yeah. My nieces were over, and I think they messed with the knobs a little bit. Is that better?
That's better.
You're too loud. Why didn't you say anything before, chat? Oh, whoops. Your chat's on the screen. Let's take the listcast stuff off. There you go. All right, let me get caught up on alerts. We had Lion's Blood with the 8-month subscription. Then CJ Craig with the 15 months as another month in the books. Dang, 15 month. Whoo, boy. We get, I feel like half of our subscribers now are well over a year, which is crazy to me. You just can't hear me.
Woo!
All right. So normally when we hit our breaks, we just kind of let whatever conversation naturally flows. But now,
yes.
But now since we're recording these things for the scraps, there's a topic that we have to discuss that was pre-discussed that I was going to bring up. And that is this newfound phenomenon that's hitting the internet that includes yellow mustard on top of watermelon. Now, normally I would just be like, this is a ridiculous, stupid fad. This is like Tide Pods. No one's actually doing it. Let's just ignore it. But not everyone is not doing it. In fact, one of the 3 people on this panel did it. And
I think you guys know who, right?
It's the one. It's the one with the incredulous look on his face. The one and only Ryan Matthews.
Okay, all right. So let me explain myself. Let me give a chance to explain myself. So I had just cut up watermelon for my 2 daughters, and I had some sitting out, and I opened up the fridge, and what's in the fridge door? The mustard. What did I see on the old Instagram reels the other night? People putting mustard on watermelon and pretending like it was super tasty. Now, I was not anticipating it being good. It was just one of those things where it's like, you know what? I have the next 15 seconds to do this, so I did it real quick. I bit into it, and I was like, no, it's not especially good. It's not even good. It's just
okay.
Mustard.
You scared me you said not especially good, like it was good for a second there.
No, it was just like eating like they didn't blend. Like it wasn't anything where it was like mustardy is this kind of like savory. It was no sweet savory thing. It was just like I have melon in my mouth. I have yellow mustard in my mouth. It was like, where's the hot dog? Like, why isn't there a hot dog in my mouth?
But when you saw
clip that
when you saw that video on Instagram, or I think you're pretending like you don't have TikTok and you saw it on TikTok.
I don't have TikTok.
I don't
promise
believe
you.
Nope,
I have the
don't
Instagram Reels though.
Yeah, you do, man. Everybody got it. I got it. I can't stop watching.
I don't have TikTok.
Whatever. Instagram Reels is essentially the same thing anyways.
Why the hell would I admit to eating watermelon and mustard but not to having the TikTok app?
But when you saw that, there is no curiosity for me at all when I see people put mustard on watermelon. Like, case closed before I even try that one. It's garbage. Like, I don't need to know that. I don't need to test that.
Okay. All right. This coming from the guy who ate a mozzarella stick milkshake.
Okay, but I knew, as punishment, I knew going in that was going to be hell.
Hey, maybe I knew that it was going to be hell putting mustard on watermelon, and I just hate myself. Maybe this is a cry for help, Jeremy.
All right, you know what? Intervention time.
Okay, but we need to take this discussion to a place that it did not go to earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy does not like mustard. I should say he doesn't like yellow mustard at all whatsoever.
True.
Me either. I hate mustard. I hate all the mustards. Dijon
Okay,
mustard, yellow mustard. I don't care. I hate them all.
All right,
Garbage.
I'm sorry that neither of you guys know how to live. But now I need to ask both of you the question of what do you put on your hot dogs? And before either of you answer, I would like to hear Mike's answer first. The former Cali boy himself is going to have some dumbass response that's like, well, I don't eat hot dogs. That's a 4-year-old's food. Okay, Mike? And I may have completely jumped out ahead of that. But Mike, what do you put on your hot dogs?
You get hate for this. I know I am.
Oh, wow, you're putting him on blast.
Nothing.
Ooh, nothing.
You eat hot dogs plain?
Straight up.
Wow.
I get a good char on them, so they get some flavor. But nothing, man. Nothing. I mean, if I go to Coney Island or something, I'll have Coney's, sauce. But, or occasionally I'll bust open, a thing of Hormel chili or something like that. But 9 times out of 10, I'm just eating a hot dog in the bun, nothing on it.
You're just eating a naked
Because-
meat pipe.
Yeah, I don't like.
Don't call it that, please.
I don't like naked meat pie. I don't like condiments on anything. I eat my burgers with just cheese.
Whoa. Are you a cheese pizza guy too?
No, I mean I like pepperoni,
Okay.
and bacon and sausage. That's a different world.
Those aren't really
but,
condiments. Those are just extra meat.
The way I see it, it's like, okay, I can at least make this argument for the burger. Like, the burger tastes good enough. I don't need to put all this other stuff on it.
If
I
it's
can't make
cooked
that
the right
argument
way,
for the
right?
hot dog.
That's true with the
If it's
burger.
cooked the right way and seasoned correctly, yeah, I mean it's great. But I can't really make that argument with the hot dog. I'm like a psychopath apparently.
Yeah, I think I can buy that for a burger because, yeah, like you said, like you can actually get good taste out of a meat patty. You get good beef. You could get good seasoning. Where's a hot dog?
Every now and again when I'm feeling saucy,
Ooh,
okay, when I'm
pun
feeling
intended.
dangerous, I put pork and beans on top of my hot dog.
Okay. That's kind of weird, but I kind of don't hate it.
Try it, man. It's good. It's good. Ryan, I don't like the look that you're giving right now. Yeah, I feel like you've
Pork and
disrespected
beans?
my entire life. Yeah,
Pork and-
How is
Yeah,
pork and beans really that weirder than, like, chili?
yeah, or mustard. I feel
Oh,
like
is
pork
it
and
not
beans is
more
normal
weird?
and mustard is
All right.
weird.
Jeremy's talking like the true Cali boy he is. He's like, oh, putting chili on your hot dogs, that's so
No,
Midwest.
I don't know. I just think Coney dogs are a bit overrated. I've said this before on the podcast, and I know I'm going to get more
Hollywood
hate
over
mail
here.
for saying that, but I mean it's just it's fine. It's not bad. It's just it's a weird obsession to me to
What are
to
they-
define Detroit culinary arts as Coney dogs.
What do they eat over there in Minnesota?
A Juicy Lucy?
Oh, gonna go down to the Target.
No, I mean, okay, so I don't eat a lot of hot dogs. I'm sorry. If that makes me a Cali boy, sure, whatever.
What if it's included in like a lunch package? Like say like you have to get the hot dog. Like
Yeah.
you don't get a choice. Like you buy a ticket to something and the ticket comes with a soda
Yeah.
and a hot dog. Like what are you doing with the hot dog?
I'm trying to find peppers and relish and like
Okay.
not condiments per se. I guess relish is a condiment, but like I'd load it up like a Chicago dog, throw some tomatoes and shit on there, like.
Relish has texture to
Chicago
it though,
dog.
so I
Yeah.
understand what you're trying to say. Like you want things on there that can give you crunch and like different flavor profile.
Yeah.
I get that.
Something to mask
Now,
the flavor
have
of just
you-
like a meat log or whatever you call it, meat tube,
Meat
A meat
pipe.
pipe.
naked meat pipe.
Yeah, a glizzy.
See,
so
TikTok
the-
knew it.
No, God damn it. Have either of you ever been to Portillo's?
I know of it, but yeah, no.
Okay, so there's a Portillo's that opened up in Michigan recently. So like they do like Italian sausage and they do hot dogs. I always get the Italian sausage, but they load it up with like sweet. You can do sweet peppers, you can do spicy peppers, you can
Yes.
do both, which I always do, and it's phenomenal.
I'd mess around with that.
Italian sausage, or a sausage, as they call it on The Sopranos, which I have really gotten into.
You should be glad Chris is not here. He would be throwing a fit at that Italian impression.
Sausage.
He would be leaking ragu out of his
I know.
pores and orifices.
He's very protective over the Italian food.
Ragu.
Maron. Anyways, I think the Italian sausage is delicious enough. You don't need the peppers and the onions, man. You don't need it. You're ruining it. You're ruining the credibility, which is not the word I wanted to use, of the meat. The credibility of the meat. The integrity. That's the one. The integrity of the meat.
That is the one. Up next on our next segment of the Scraps podcast, Mike talks about vanilla ice cream, why it's the best. And it deserves
No. No. I don't go there with ice cream, man. I
Hot fudge sundae?
The more toppings, the better. The more toppings, the better in ice cream. Put it all in there.
Mike says, "Hot, go f- yourself." Okay, go ahead.
Not go fuck yourself.
No, I mean, I get his argument because I make the same argument with steak, and I think a lot of people make the same argument with steak, but I also don't put Italian sausage on the same level as steak. Like, steak is steak.
Sausage.
Sausage.
I don't know.
But that's exactly why I load up hot dogs, is because like the meat quality is so poor, and I don't really want to taste it.
Fair enough.
That's just a kogel.
Aaron, steak is okay. C tier meal. Aaron.
C tier meal.
Steak is A+ tier meal.
Well, ask him what his version of an A+ meal is, because I gotta know. If it's not steak, then what
I
is
also
it?
would like to know, Cordy Aaron. I know you're a moderator here, but
I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna say it's French toast.
It's probably.
you think he's a breakfast for dinner guy?
If you think a steak is a C tier meal, you have to be the complete opposite way. So like when I think of polar opposite foods, French toast and steak like are not even on the same like spectrum.
Brisket is A tier. I mean, okay. I love brisket, and I had some amazing brisket the other day. If you saw on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
Brisket's one of those things that has to be done perfectly, or it's not good. It's got to be perfect.
Fried chicken. Fried chicken's a solid B tier. To me, fried chicken is like you can't mess it up, but you also can't.
A tier.
Yeah, you throw a waffle on there too.
It has a very clear ceiling to me. Like, I don't know. Maybe if we're talking like Nashville hot chicken. Now we're getting closer to A tier.
Well, I think you have to applaud the chicken's versatility. Like Mike just said, you do chicken and waffles. Oh my gosh! You go to Gus's in Detroit, and you get some coleslaw and some collard greens. Oh,
or you put chicken tenders on a plate of spaghetti, chicken parmesan.
Chicken parm.
There you go.
Full circle. You were part of that conversation last week, weren't you, Ryan? That was post Ryan Scraps.
Yeah, if I would have heard you slander chicken fingers like that, I would have been upset. I'm fine with you I'm fine with you taking a dump on chicken parmesan, because like it is like it's like the dump of foods. Like it's like, well, I have this plate of spaghetti. What am I gonna do? I'll throw a patty on it, some marinara.
It's the classy version of the KFC Famous Bowl, which is literally just all. But that is literally a food dump. That is like literally everything we have in the kitchen put in a pile of food.
I think it's the best thing they have on their menu, personally. But hey, I got to throw a quick shout out. Ron Bartel, former Lion Ron Bartel's got a great chicken and waffle spot on Livernois
Ooh.
called Cuzzo's. I recommend it. It's delicious.
We take food recommendations here, and we also take food advertising spaces. If anyone with a food spot is interested, we will shill the crap out of you. I don't care.
Even if food isn't your primary business plan, like say like Legends wants to sponsor us,
Sure,
that's fine. I heard they have a great buffet, great music, fine dancers. I mean, like, we're desperate.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be good food either. Like if your business is like Chad's Plain Hot Dogs, we got Mike.
Even if you want to like rep your OnlyFans on our podcast, we'll do it. We'll do it. You know, like whatever.
Anything you want advertised that like doesn't hurt anybody, we will shill.
Low bar, but I'm with it. All right, you guys ready to get back into this? Get into our list cast.
Edge rushers.
Edge rushers.
Edge defenders. No, defenders.
Sorry.
I'm saying
That
defenders
is-
because
yes.
that's part of my yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Also, before we get in there, Sam Bones Online. Thank you for the follow. Ooh, excuse me. Thank you for the follow here on Twitch. All right, Chad, I'm going to take you off the screen. Get one last chat in really quick. 3, 2,
Yeah.
1. No, too late. You're gone. All right, let me pull up my list cast. Okay. Welcome back to the POD cast. My name's Jeremy Risman. I'm filling in for Chris Perfett, who's off doing some Fox Sports net stuff for the radio. Always make sure you tune into him if you're over there on the West Coast, or he's in syndication as well. I don't know how to look him up, but look him up. Anyways, we are back, and we are list casting week 2 of our list cast summer. Last week we did what? Wide receivers? Now
Yes, sir.
we are going to the other side of the ball. Edge defenders. Not edge rushers, edge defenders. We're talking about the guys coming off the edges, whether they're defensive ends, outside linebackers. A lot of their job is getting to the quarterback, but that's not all they do. And just to kind of, if you're new to Listcast, what we do is we get all of the Pride of Detroit staff, or at least who wants to participate, to make their top 10 lists. We smush them all together and come together with a collective top 10 list, and this is just edge defenders this year, 2021, in a vacuum. Who are the best guys? Doesn't matter what scheme they're in, doesn't matter their surrounding cast. Who do we think are the top 10 edge defenders this year? Now, before we get into our list, let's talk about some guys that just barely missed out on the list. Montez Sweat just missed out, and Ryan voted for him, so maybe you can vouch for him in a bit. Chandler Jones missed out. Brian Burns missed out. Bradley Chubb, Bud Dupree, Trey Flowers, and Daniil Hunter. What was interesting about our list is our top 9 were solid in terms of consensus. 10 through 17 or whatever it was just like 1 or 2 votes here or there. There wasn't a lot of agreement on who slid into that top 10. None of those guys slept in. But let's go to Ryan. Why Montez Sweat, or maybe you want to make an argument for someone else. You also voted for Brian Burns.
Yeah, so I threw Montez Sweat on there because what you mentioned at the very top of this segment is the most important thing, Jeremy, edge defenders. And Montez Sweat is one of those guys who he saw a nice little bump in his pressures from his rookie year to his sophomore season. He had 32 as a rookie, 47 in 2020. But he had an 87 run defense grade last season, which ranked 3rd in the position, only behind Khalil Mack and TJ Watt. So as far as run defenders off the edge, Montez Sweat's a top 3 dude. And that goes a long ways towards being versatile. You know, people aren't only throwing the ball, people are running the ball, and there's got to be somebody to stop them. And nobody would know that better than the Detroit Lions and Romeo Okwara. You know, being an edge defender is more than just rushing the passer. So that's something that I would like to see Romeo Okwara make a bump up, and maybe he can make our top 10 list next season.
Mike, is there a guy that didn't make the list that you want to stand for before we jump into our top 10?
Yeah, I'm the guy who voted for Trey Flowers. And here's why. When it came down to it, when I got to 10, I was really struggling with who to put on the list. And I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And all the guys that we have, like Montez Sweat and Brian Birds, were all options that I thought about. But what drove me to put Flowers in was I thought about how much does this guy mean to the defense that he plays on. And Trey Flowers is arguably the best defensive player on the entire Detroit Lions team. Can we all agree on that? I think that's probably correct just because I said it. And I mean, obviously, if you look at his stat sheet, he didn't get home too often. You know, nobody really did in Detroit last year. But he got a ton of pressures. He was great against the run, you know, in certain spots, and he was decent against the pass as well. I think I just came down to I look at it like the NBA MVP. Like, it should be the best player who makes their team better. And even though the Lions defense was the worst ever, they were just a little bit better because of Trey Flowers. So that's why I put him on there.
And you know, I think it's fair. I think a lot goes to Ryan's point, where like, dude is a really, really good run defender, and you know he has high pass rush upside. The injuries obviously have kind of hurt him the past couple of years here in Detroit, but you're right. Like, he's the guy with the biggest upside. He's the guy who I think went perpetually underrated, overlooked perhaps, both in Detroit and maybe during his time in New England. But I need a little more consistency out of him in general, and maybe health for me to have him in my top 10. Who I was surprised didn't make the top 10. He was my number 10. He was also on Hamza's list as well, is Chandler Jones. I know he's coming off an injury where he only played 5 games and he only had 1 sack. But prior to that, we're talking about 5 straight seasons with at least 10 sacks, including 17 back in 2017, led the league, 19 just 2 years ago, just in 2019. Dude is a beast out there, and he's still, I mean, I know he's now on the other side of 30, but 31, so like not at a point where he's lost everything. And he's done it in multiple places, right? Like that he left New England and actually still played well. That's not something that we see out a lot of guys. So I don't know. I was surprised he wasn't in there, but there are, I think, 10 guys worthy of being on this list, and we have them.
Yeah, and I think once we get started here in our top 10 list, what you're going to see is a pattern of guys who play on teams that have productive defenses established around them.
Right.
Like, Montez Sweat is a guy who I see why other people left him off his list, because, I mean, think about all the other talent. There's Jonathan Allen, there's Chase Young, there's a ton of dudes on the defensive line, or even, Jeremy, your point, Chandler Jones this season, guess who's got on the other side of him? J.J. Watt.
Yep.
I mean, you might see Chandler Jones kind of bounce back, be healthy and things like that. So, and with Mike, Trey Flowers, I mean, we keep talking about on every podcast, it seems like, hey, if there's a bright spot about the Lions defense, it's their front line. So, maybe this is the year where Trey Flowers starts living up to that big contract.
All right, let's move into the guys that actually did make our list. And we're going to start right there in the NFC North. Our number 10 comes from the Green Bay Packers. Darius Smith, one of the quote-unquote Smith brothers. I will spoil it and say Preston Smith does not make this list. He was only on 3 of our lists this year. I was one of them. I actually have Darius Smith as my number 7, so I guess I should be the one that stands for him. But I think he definitely distanced himself as like the best player on that Packers defense, maybe aside of Jair Alexander. But back-to-back 12.5 sack seasons, 13.5 last year before that. And I don't know, like, I feel like the Packers really found a way to use him, right? Like, a lot of it is what you said, Brian. Like, he's in a good defense, in a good fit. He's got a good surrounding cast. But to me, they're using it in a way that Baltimore never figured out how to. And he is living up to it. And still only 28 years old, even though he's, 6-7 years into his career. I feel like he's just hitting his stride too. And back-to-back 10-sack seasons is not easy. We're going to see if Romeo Okwara can do it. I'd be surprised if he can. But Darius Smith, I think, has been in terms of pass rush, and I know pass rush isn't the full the full scale here, but in terms of pass rush, I think you could argue maybe he's been a top 5 guy in the past 2 years. Who wants to fight me?
I'll fight you.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Fight him.
Okay. I didn't put Darius Smith on my list at all, and the reason is I'm not an analytics guy. I'm really not. But when I look at like PFF, for example, he's not graded much higher than Romeo Okwara, like at all. And I think that you look at Darius Smith's stat line and you see 12.5 sacks and 50 some odd tackles, and you think, well, this guy, he must be a powerhouse. But I think to go back to what Ryan said, it's the perfect example. This is the perfect example of a decent player on a really good defense and being able to capitalize on what the rest of his team can do for him. So, I mean, I'm just not impressed with Darius, especially against the run. Like, he's just not good against the run at all. But he can get home, and it shows up on the stat sheet, and that's what people love to see. But I just don't – he's better than Romeo Okwara, but he's not that much better than Romeo Okwara. I just don't think he should be on this list.
That's fair. The only counterpoint I would make there, and maybe this is just like the Packers kind of quote line that they always give when you point to their defense not being able to stop the run. They say that's kind of by design. Like they really don't care. They want to get to the quarterback. They want to disrupt the passing game, and if that allows you to get 6-7 yards on the ground every now and then, like they're cool with that. But you're right. Like 60.5 PFF grade in terms of run defense. That's good for 62nd. So not nowhere even near average at that point.
Yeah. And the only thing I have to add about Darius Smith is, that defensive line, super underrated in terms of their ability to get to the quarterback. You got Kenny Clark in the middle. You got Preston Smith, as already mentioned. People forget about Rashawn Gary's on that team.
True.
And he started to kind of emerge last season. I think you get that perfect storm where you get a good sack season. That's what makes something like Chandler Jones on your list, Jeremy, a little bit more impressive for a guy who's been able to do it consistently that many seasons, because I think sacks can be one of those numbers that if you are just if you're an above average player on a really good defensive line, maybe you luck yourself into 10 or 11. And then maybe if you go away or that talent goes away, you see your numbers regress. But I'm fine with Darius Smith being 10. That's okay.
All right. Now we get into our top 9, which, as I said, we're far and away more agreed upon than anyone below that. Our number 8, I'm going to say, because we actually have a tie between 8 and 9. So we'll call it number 9, and we'll just start with Demarcus Lawrence. And I want to jump right back to you, Ryan, because you have Demarcus Lawrence as your number 4.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Demarcus Lawrence he's the real deal, man. I think that I don't know if it's because of his personality and he plays for the Dallas Cowboys, but and maybe just the fact that the focus is always on Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. But Demarcus Lawrence is so overlooked, so underappreciated. Pass rush is always going to be the thing that everybody jumps to with edge defenders. And he's been doing that, and he's been putting up sacks, sack numbers each year that are very commendable. But again, it's edge defender. Last year he had a 90.1 run defense grade over the last or he had a run defense grade of 90.1 over the last 4 seasons, which makes him just one of 7 players of that position to clear 90. And it's a guy who can do it all. So that's why I'm so high on Demarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at stats, you tend to get fooled by Demarcus Lawrence and think maybe he's not that good of a player. He hasn't had more than 10 sacks since 2018, 5 sacks in 2019, 6.5 last year. But if you look at kind of those pressure stats, the disruption stats that aren't necessarily the same as sack stats, 8th in PFF pass rush grade, 10th in ESPN's pass rush win rate with 21% there. Pressures, he still had 47, which 24th, not horrible, not great. And then you throw, like you said, a top tier run defense that's just a really well-rounded player who can really, a guy that you don't need to ever take off the field, right? Like a lot of these guys might be specialists in terms of pass rush. They're going to be your third down guys, maybe early down guys. Most of these guys are probably 2 to 3 down guys, but Demarcus Lawrence is, I mean, definitely a dude that you can keep on there forever and still on the right side of 30 as well. All right, let's move to. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think he's so overlooked that I overlooked him and didn't put him on my list. Like, I think that I should have. Kind of looking back on it now.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
he's so quiet, but he's just a guy that goes out and gets the job done.
Yeah, he had that 14.5 sack season, and we're all just like, this guy's going to consistently be there in the sack numbers, and he just isn't. But I do think the productivity is still there, and I think 9's a good actually spot for him. I think that may have been right around where I had him. So, also 8th, I should say, because like I said, there is a tie between the 8th is Shaq Barrett at number 8. Who wants to talk about Shaq Barrett first?
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, well, I mean, you gotta love the guy. He helped the Bucks win the Super Bowl. He was big in that game too. I mean, he had a lot of. He was in Pat Mahomes' face all day. This dude, he's badass, man. I mean, I honestly I don't know enough about him, other than sort of some of the stuff that he's done in the Super Bowl, and I'm sort of scrambling behind here, but. I mean, I have the same issues with him that I have with Darius Smith, though. Like, he's not very good against the run. But, it's a fine player. Wish I knew more about him so I could look smarter.
Yeah, with Shaq Barrett, I think it was an interesting test case of, like, he is really kind of just average in Denver. He goes to Tampa Bay in 2019, and then he gets 20 sacks. And everybody's like, holy crap, like, nobody saw this coming. Which really impressive. I mean, 20 sacks, 18 hits, 44, hurries total. But last year, I mean, he didn't get 20 sacks. He got 12. And I imagine that has something to do with opposing offenses being like, all right, we need a scheme for this guy because he's getting to the quarterback a little bit too easily. 12 sacks, but still had 74 hurries. Like, I mean, Shaq Barrett he was getting after it. And, kind of just an average run defender, as Mike mentioned, but the reason why he made it on my list, and I had him, I believe, I had him at number 8, which we have him slotted. But like, I just couldn't keep him off the list because of how good he is as a pass rusher.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to forget the 20 sack season that was just last year, and then you're right, like. The sack numbers weren't as good this year. I think officially there was only 8, but PFF might have credited him with more because they do that. But in terms of pressures, whether you want to call it hurries, pressures, whatever, PFF's pressure stat first, 77. No one had more than him. That's all you need to say. Like, this guy needs to be in your top 10 if he's literally first in pressures. And like, even his run defense grade 66.6, which is 36. That's about average. So I'll take someone that can give you average run defense with elite pass rush. Like, that's a top tier player. That's a guy you need on your team, and that's a guy that I think was instrumental in the Bucks getting a Super Bowl ring over there.
Oh yeah.
All right, moving along here. Number 7, Cameron Jordan. Let's go to you, Ryan. What do you got to say about Cameron Jordan? Where was he on your list?
Cameron Jordan, I believe I had him a little bit higher. Let me double check here. I had him at number 6. Yep. Yeah, so just slightly higher. But, it's weird because I didn't have Chandler Jones on my list, but like, I just want to give so much credit to dudes who have been doing it for so long because of that, how finicky these stats can be sometimes from year to year when it comes to, being consistently good. As far as guys on this list, like Cameron Jordan, year in, year out, has just been an absolute stud, like for the past 7 seasons. Since 2015, no less than an 82 grade from PFF. Over the course of that, 10 sack season, 15 sack season, 13 sack season, 17 sacks. I mean, the guy just is consistently up there with, the best edge defenders. And again, another guy who he's he's not slacking in the run defense department either. So, I big Cameron Jordan guy.
Yeah, same here. I mean, the dude is he's consistent constantly. I mean, and he's going to be like, to me, he's going to be like Calais Campbell. Like, he's just going to be a guy that no matter how old he gets, he's just still going to be good, and he's still going to be reliable. Obviously, his sack total is down a little bit from what it was last year. I think he had 15 last year. He only had like 7 or 8 this year. But I mean, he's a dude that anytime New Orleans comes in town, like you worry about him. Like, this is the guy that you got to be afraid of that's going to come after your quarterback, and he's good against the run too. I mean, he's just the guy. He's a guy I would love to have in Detroit.
Yeah, Cam didn't make my list, but you both make great arguments. I mean, the dude was 4th in run defense last year, so he's got that veteran kind of well-roundedness to him. I just think maybe that's where his career trajectory is headed now. Like, I don't know if he's about to turn 32. He might not have the quickness and the athleticism to really pull off some of the pass rush moves that allowed him to have 4 or 5 10-sack seasons in his career. As you mentioned, he dropped to 7.5 last year. The efficiency is still there. His pass rush grade was 19th, so it's not like he's a slouch in that department. I just think we're starting to see a little bit of a slide there into maybe being more of a savvy veteran kind of guy who relies more on his smarts than his athleticism, and maybe that's where you see a better run defense. That's why you see his run defense grade kind of going up while maybe his pass rushing skills are going down. So he's probably just off my list, but I think I'm not mad about him being 7th on our list.
The one other stat I want to bring to you about Cameron Jordan that shows just how reliable he's been. He is second. He's 3rd, trailing only Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald in total pressure since 2015 with 428.
He has that consistency that Mike said. Like, that dude has put together a heck of a resume, and I wouldn't take that away from him. All right, let's close out our bottom 5 here, or I guess bottom 5 of a top 10. Don't want to call them bottom 5 guys. Nick Bosa is your number 6. And Ryan, I feel like I have to go to you here. Nick Bosa was not on your list.
Yeah, Nick Bosa was not on my list because I didn't see him last year.
Okay.
Played 2 games, and I understand that he had an incredible rookie season. He was one of the reasons why the 49ers had such a awesome defense alongside Eric Armstead and everybody's DeForest Buckner.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm always blanking on his name. He went to Indianapolis. Ryan, get it straight. I feel like Chris Farley right now interviewing Paul McCartney. Such an idiot. But no, I'm not an idiot for not having Nick Bosa on my list. I think that let me just see something. Let me see something more. I get it. The rookie season, really tough blow. I think he tore his ACL like second game into the season. Let me just see it again. And I think that's kind of the problem that his brother had for a while too. So.
Okay.
That's where I'm at with Nick Bosa.
You're just in a prove it mode at this point.
Yeah, like he's good. I mean, like I don't feel like I'm gonna look like an idiot for not having him in my top 10 if he goes and has like 18 sacks this season. Like, because I'll just put him on my list. No, I'll put him on my list next year, and then I'll be fine.
But this is supposed to project. We're projecting for 2021, not.
No.
No. All right.
No.
Mike, call him an idiot.
I made the rules.
I think that Ryan's doing the same thing that I did with Todd Gurley.
Absolutely not. That's bullshit.
No, I have some of the same concerns that Ryan does. He's coming off a torn ACL. How much is that going to affect how he plays? But still, like, the guy is super young. He doesn't have a whole lot of rust on him. Obviously he sat out his last year in college and everything. And I don't know, man. I think he's going to bounce right back. But I guess we'll see. Todd Gurley didn't really bounce back.
The man had 102 pressures his rookie season. 102 pressures his rookie season. No one this year had more than 77. Bro, he's going to blow it up.
He missed a whole year of football.
I'm not sure if that's right. I think it's 80 pressures.
For Nick Bosa? What are you looking at? PFF?
Yeah.
I see 102. Whatever. Either way, Either way, even if it is 80,
80
that
is
is
a
still
lot.
more than anyone had this year. Anyone.
Right,
This
that
dude
was
is a top
2019.
5 guy. The fact that he's
What
not
did
on
he
our
do- what
top
did he do
5
last
is politically based. You guys are being leftist. Or is that the other one? I don't even remember.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh my God, it's Chris. Everybody's
Nick Bosa is going to blow things up. And he might have to because, that 49ers defense isn't quite what it used to be. And they lost the best head coaching candidate in this year's cycle. So, sorry, I don't know why I'm trolling.
Do you want to make a little friendly bet on week 1 of the NFL season?
Oh, God, no. Probably not.
Yes.
I don't want to put a bet that would go against a good Lions performance.
Let's bet you have
Mustard,
to eat a hot
watermelon
dog with
shake.
mustard if Nick Bosa doesn't get more than 3 pressures against the Detroit Lions.
No, I'm not. No. It's the best offensive line in the league. Why would I bet that?
That's right. God, you stole my joke.
All right, with that, we are going to take a break. When we come back, top 5 edge defenders that for some reason will not include Nick Bosa, but it might include his brother. Spoiler alert. So stick with us. We'll be right back on the POD cast.
Your mic's kind of weird, Jeremy. Do
Is
you
it,
hear that?
Yeah, like-
is it popping again? I need to turn
No,
it down.
it's not popping. It sounds like that episode of BoJack Horseman where he's underwater.
Oh, no. Did it get unplugged?
No. Like I could hear it. Like it was just like it started to fade out a little bit, and then it would come back up, and then it would fade out a little bit and come back up.
Oh. I think it still might
But
have to do
it
with
was-
theme. Is it auto-adjusting? How about that? Is that maybe a little better?
No, it sounds good for the majority of it, doesn't it, Mike?
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it just sounds like you're got your head and the microphone under a pillow,
Oh, well.
which is an interesting way to do a podcast.
All right. All right. Let's head back to our chat here. We'll take the list cast off for a second. Bring the chat back aboard. Thank you. I will defeat you for following us. In the ominous chat name. Lil Moana says totally unrelated, but if you guys want to get derailed, check out the photo from Ragnow's wedding. Jonah Jackson is a vibe. Please tell me where that is from because I absolutely want to watch whatever. Is it on Twitter? Is it on his Instagram? Because I want to watch Jonah Jackson do some fun stuff. All I've seen is the Travis Swanson photo.
Did you guys see the big NFL news?
Yes. Carl Nassib.
Yep.
Came out as the first gay player.
That's pretty sweet.
That is pretty cool. Who?
Kind of ignoring that one dude, Michael Sam, though.
Well, active. I think they say first active.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, look, we found 2 mil. I told you it was going to happen.
Oh, a peek behind the curtain.
Oh, wow. Look at that. What's that on the table? What's that green thing?
Idiot dogs.
Actually,
Oh, that's the green ski.
it still
Sorry
looks
about
like turf because I can see the lines.
It is still. That's still part of the green screen. By the way, I'm watching Alex Reno's dog, which is why that just happened because they were being idiots, and now they're both looking at me like, what's happening?
What's that piece of paper? Is that a
gosh.
brochure? It's like a brochure.
I don't know. No, that's not.
What is it? Read it to us.
No. If someone can link to me the Instagram post, I would like to see that. But one sec. Let me get this fixed.
Get out of here, dogs! You've been bad.
Well, while Jeremy renovates, or I should say
How weird that
restores
looks.
Fort Field.
That just looks weird. Oh, I can still see outside.
Can see a tiny bit, but Jeremy has restored the roar.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
I'm trying to find this Instagram post.
Yeah, Frank Clark had a submachine gun. I did hear that too. That's
Whose
interesting.
Instagram was this?
I'm not sure. Maybe Jonah Jackson's. Maybe Frank Ragnow's. I'm seeing Frank Ragnow kissing his wife. I feel. Are you kidding me, pups?
You just knock it down.
It's
on it?
literally on top of me right now.
I can see it.
It's not Jonah Jackson's.
Get out of here.
And it's not
Go lay down.
it's not Jared Goff's girlfriends either. I checked it just so everybody knows.
Yeah, you got
just
notifications on that one.
I was just making sure. Just making sure.
Leave no stone unturned, Mike.
Yes, that's right. I was a detective.
Travis Swanson's Instagram. Okay, on it.
Travis Swanson, huh?
There's a name from the past.
Why? Why was Travis Swanson in there?
Oh, is Jonah Jackson the one in the cowboy hat? I don't really know what Jonah Jackson looks like. That's him.
Nice.
That is a pretty fantastic look. Beer in hand as well, obviously.
Where's Matthew?
Careful. If you talk about Matthew Stafford too much, people get very mad for some reason.
I miss you.
Oh, whoops.
Is that Decker with the mullet?
Of course it is. Absolutely.
Respect.
You can tell by the tats on the hand too. But yeah, that's a look right there.
The mullets are officially back, right? Like mullets are a thing again. Like we're doing it.
High schoolers are doing them.
I think this is like the former former Lions. I'll be honest, I can't name everybody in this picture. There's O'Day, Stafford, Decker. I don't know who that is. Jonah. I don't know who that is. Maybe you look very familiar. I'm very bad at recognizing.
Why
Oh, that's Vitae? Vitae's in the hat?
Oh, that does look like
That might be Vitae.
Yeah, because I think.
Well, who's Jonah Jackson then?
I think Jonah's, like
That might be Dan
back.
Skipper. That's kind of who I was thinking too.
Well, Dan Skipper's obviously the tallest guy there.
The tallest guy, bald.
Yeah.
That's 100% Dan Skipper. Jonah's the far right guy? Oh, he's kind of the more like...
Jonah went far right? Oh, God. We're getting political again?
Oh, no, that 100% is Jonah on the far right.
With
and the white and the checkered pants. That's still a vibe.
That is still a vibe.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, that
This
is
guy.
it. Yeah, I like that. Got the shades on and everything.
Sorry, guys. I have face blindness, so I'm bad at that sort of stuff.
I
don't know if that's a real thing.
I had a friend of a friend who attended this wedding.
That's right. You have inside information.
Yeah, and I hate to break it to you guys, but Matthew Stafford pees in urinals.
No.
Yeah, he does.
That man does not have waste in his body. I don't believe it. He uses his food and drink to 100% efficiency, so I don't believe you.
I regret to inform you that he's a leaker.
I am 100% against urinals, by the way. 100%.
Wait, what?
I'm never peeing in a urinal ever again. Wait, this isn't a serious take from Mike, is it?
No, this is 100% serious take. I will not pee in the urinal. No, thank you. I'll go to the toilet.
I'm so excited for Scraps this weekend.
Wait a
Scraps
second.
is going to be better than the actual
we
podcast.
need a record scratch here because I need to understand this. Why?
What's not to understand? You go so like first. I don't want to stand next to 20 dudes doing the same thing. Like 20 dudes. We each have our. We're not recording, right? We're each have our.
I mean, we're live.
20 of us. There's 20 of us, man. But no, like the real problem is like when. This is such a weird thing. How did we get here? When you go and pee in the urinal, it like splashes up against the wall and back onto your hands and pants and everything. It's disgusting. It's gross.
Okay.
Not to mention, like, more often than not, there's like people's gum in there and stuff, and like it's just gross, man. I don't like looking at it.
The splashback is a good point, but you'd be amazed by what they've done with splashback technology these days.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
The koosh ball looking stuff, that's the best stuff. If you find a urinal with like the koosh ball kind of texture at the bottom, no splashback at all.
Nice.
That is a game changer urinal.
You know, the other thing is like there's always one that's on the verge of overflowing. Like it's always like, don't flush me because I'm gonna fuck up everybody's shoes in here. Don't do it. Like it's always like that, and it's like half piss, half water. The keg is floating around. Like seriously, go to Ford Field this year. There will be one of those like that. And for some reason, you're going to go to that one. Like, what's wrong with you people? Don't go to that one.
You know what I like peeing in, Mike?
If you say trough,
those
if you say
troughs
trough,
that they used to have in Lewis. Yeah.
The ice.
Throw a bucket of ice in there. Let a bunch of dudes go to the bathroom.
No.
Go back to your hot dogs and mustard.
I am not an animal. All right, I'm not going to do anything with a trough. Although it is fun to like aim at the ice and try to melt it.
Yeah, it's a game. It's a carnival game.
There's something there. I'm with you.
Mike, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. But
Hold on, let me quick
Okay.
trough story. Hold on,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Quick trough story.
Go for it.
We went to Tijuana, right? And
Great story
apparently
already.
At this establishment, they weren't only using the trough for pee.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, and that's where I learned like the true meaning of backsplash. You know, like, because they were not hitting the trough more often than not. They were missing the trough and they hitting the wall. Like it was real interesting place down there. Law of the jungle over there in Tijuana.
All right.
All right.
To my question, since backsplash is a major concern of yours, and again,
Yes.
you don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
Right.
Do you sit down when you pee?
You know what? If it's in the middle of the night, hell yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to turn on the light because why? You know, that's like the worst thing in the
Sure.
world. When you get up in the middle of the night, you turn on the light. So I'll just sit it down, man. Just sit down, tuck it, take care of it. Like, why do I need
All right, you
to
didn't
stand?
need to get graphic there.
Sorry,
that was
sorry,
unnecessary.
my bad.
I'm just kidding.
Here's the thing. I've got a wife, man. I've got a wife, and like if I pee on that seat, she's gonna be upset. So
Fair.
I just plop it down, man. Or we got this new light that goes on the rim of our toilet. That's just a soft blue light. It's just exquisite, and it's just lovely. And now I don't have to sit down in the middle of the night. So, all right.
Are you okay, Ryan?
Welcome to Pride of Detroit.
I'm fine.
Listen,
We've just been talking about urinals for the past 7 minutes.
I don't care. I'll out myself. I sit down when I pee at home all the time. I don't care. I can be on my
I don't think
phone.
there's anything wrong with it.
I get to be on my phone for 5 minutes. It's great.
Comfortable.
But I feel like I have to go to the chat here because I think what was it, CJ Craig, right? Who said he works for American Standard, which if I'm not mistaken is a toilet company. And the reason I know that is because I misspelled the word standard in my 5th grade spelling bee and had to look at the word every time I pee and got very upset about it.
That's how
hey.
Jeremy learned to spell standard.
I was going to say, we just got a glimpse into Jeremy's origin story.
CJ, what's the latest in peeing tech? Am I right in that?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the little cushy kind of thing that they put at the bottom of urinals. I don't know if you deal with urinal catchers. That might be a different department than you. But I'm curious, like, what are you doing to right the wrong that is urine splashback? Oh, he's got a link. Water technology.
Be careful.
Click on it. Share the screen.
Yeah, should I?
So, I was gonna say at the high school that I teach at, they actually have water-free urinals. Like, there's no water in them,
Well, how does that work?
or they're like like you don't flush them, and they're not auto flush.
So
What?
gravity just takes care of everything?
Are you just peeing in a hole?
How does it get clean?
That poor janitor.
Water technology.
Waterless urinals. Yeah.
But I feel like I've heard that before. It's just like it's not truly waterless. It's just like low water.
You gotta be able to flush it though.
Do you want me to send you a picture of how it works,
Yes.
and you can
Is
share
there
it with
an
our
entire
okay.
video?
Yes.
I'm-
This is important stuff.
This is for science. I'm something of a scientist myself.
How did we get
Yes.
on P? How did that happen?
Matthew Stafford.
also-
being-
Oh, that's right.
This also isn't like, it's not science, it's engineering, but whatever. Same thing.
Yeah.
You really have to.
Um,
Well, actually, us there. Was that necessary?
I was well actuallying myself. All right, there's your picture. I sent it to you, Jeremy.
I got it. I do not know what I'm looking at, except for yellow fluids.
Well,
Send it
so
to
that's
me,
the urine.
Ryan, I don't see it.
Hold on.
Oh.
There we go. Now it's.
Send it.
If you're watching the stream, does this make sense to you, CJ
Hold
Craig?
on. Hold on. Watching the stream. Eh. This is so stupid. I can't believe we get kind of paid to do this.
Where? I don't even know where. Where are you peeing? Where's the pee part?
I think it's the
Where the yellow arrows are pointing inwards, like at the top.
This is more confused than I've ever been looking at a diagram.
I don't understand what's happening here at all. The blue it seems to me the blue seal, whatever that is doing the work.
If I'm looking at this correctly, it's almost like an airplane bathroom, right?
Maybe.
Like that little lid opens up and oh, okay, never mind. Ryan just sent me the link here. Let's take a. Okay, what am I looking at?
No idea. I'm getting this off the
Here's
screen.
Here's how it works. The urine flows into the drain insert of the eco trap. Okay?
Okay.
So the eco trap is where the urine goes.
I
Now-
see.
Then the inside of the eco trap, the urine moves through a floating layer of propriety immiscible blue seal liquid, which creates a
Liquid,
barrier.
blue seal liquid. What is that?
The blue
Yeah,
seal
what
liquid.
is that liquid? It's proprietary, but what does that mean? What
Is that not water?
not
It
water?
creates a barrier preventing sewer gases and urine odors from entering the restroom. The urine below the
bleach?
blue seal barrier over spills into the central tube, travels down in the drain line.
So like Ryan, when you walk into the bathroom, is this what you're looking at? Is this the face of it? Do you put it between those two goalposts right there?
No,
in the
well,
middle, or-
it's a cross section, so it's split in half.
You don't have to Jason Hansen your way into this urinal.
You don't audible dong it off the posts.
Right. What if you audible dog it off the post?
Well, then you need to go to the office and tell them that you made a mess, and they're going to give you some sanitizing wipes to clean that up. But yeah, no, they look just like normal urinals. They're just waterless due to blue seal technology.
Blue seal
Ah,
liquid.
yes, the blue seal technology.
Whatever blue seal liquid is, which I guess someone thinks it's bleach.
Promo code Blue Seal. That's our promo code. We found it. We did it.
If I can get an ad read from American Standard,
Yeah, CJ, you got to hook us up. He said, I work in the safety
Do it.
tubs, senior bathing department. More so walk-in tubs and walk-in showers for the elderly. Perfect. I got back issues. I got neck issues. I'm almost 40.
oh, here's a question that you guys aren't going to want to answer, but you want to talk about bathtubs and showers? Do you guys pee in the shower?
I used to be vehemently against it, and now I do it all the time.
What? Man? It's all pipes, as George Costanza would say. It's all pipes. They all go to the same place. Whatever. Yeah, dude, every time.
It's
Not
all
every time.
pipes, meat pipes, and
pipe.
we're rolling. And we're
And
rolling.
that's the theme of today's show is pipe.
Pipes.
Hey,
Which
guys, by the
also,
way,
yeah, go ahead.
I just found a toilet brand. I thought I saw this. I remember seeing this in like Minnesota or something. There's a toilet brand called Toto. And dear God, if we're not sponsored by them, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, that's true. That's a missed opportunity.
And back to Listcast, says chat. We should actually probably be on this screen. Sorry, chat. I'm curious, though. Peeing in shower, I put up a poll. Because I did. Because the first answers were, yeah, of course, all the time. And the other one is like, absolutely not.
Yeah, everybody all of a sudden high-roading everybody else like, I have never in my life.
I used to be on that side, and part of it is like, okay, well, I'm in a unique situation amongst you two in that I live alone, so I feel like I get a free pass, right? Like, if you're with a significant other, they might be bothered by that. There might be lingering smells, I suppose, but probably not. If you do it at the beginning of the shower, you're fine. What?
No, I just thought about something just before we get back to list cast. I just thought, like, my big thing against urinals is like the splashback. But like in the shower, I'm totally okay with peeing on my feet.
Well, they're getting cleaned.
What's wrong with me? I feel like I'm totally going against, like,
Mike,
I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here.
What's wrong with you is you're not aiming away from your feet. Aim away from your feet.
Why do I need to aim, man? Just let it just do its thing.
You just kind of need to, you need to Superman it where you're just, like, you're hovering, you have your hands against the walls of the tub.
No.
It's not touching anything.
I'm shaving and washing my face and stuff.
Like, it'll take care of itself.
You need to have some sort of Mission Impossible pulley system where you're just hanging from the roof and not peeing on yourself.
Tell that to CJ from chat at American Standard. Be like, look, I understand that our goal is to get the elderly into the tub as efficiently and safe as possible, but what if we Tom Cruise them from the ceiling?
Yes.
So that they can go to the bathroom in the tub.
I need a shower peeing harness.
Yeah.
That's what we're calling it.
Yes.
An SPH.
I love it. I love it.
By the way, 73% of our live viewers pee in the shower.
Have left this.
We'll also have
not
left.
watching us anymore. Okay.
Well, hey, hold on. 73 admitted to doing it.
Yeah.
There's another 10% that like isn't doing it, and
Right.
then there's, you know what I mean. So
Yeah. We'll call it 4 out of 5.
Yeah, there's some people in there not admitting it. Come on.
are you one of 4 or 5 Americans who pee in your shower? Well, I have a contraption for you. The peeing bathroom harness. What is it called? The bathtub harness?
Shower pee harness.
The shower pee harness?
Uncle Indigo just is pitching just the letter P harness.
Yes, I like P harness. It's very short, right to the point.
The last thing I want to say on this topic, and then we'll move the hell on, is it like when I was vehemently against it, I'm like, you guys can control your pee, it's fine. Like, just go right before you shower. I started doing that. Like, I pee before I shower, and then like the water hitting you makes you have to go all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just go again. It's fine.
Cut out the middleman.
Well, no, we're not calling it golden showers, John. No.
I mean,
Although, like, golden parachute, it's kind of like your parachute. No. Never mind. No. Nope.
Literally the dumbest idea that anyone has ever had. Concocted by the 3 of us.
Shark Tank. At least we'd make, like, the bloopers.
yes.
I think
Are there
Mark
bloopers?
Cuban would do this, man. I think Mark Cuban would be all about this.
I don't think we'd even make the bloopers. I think we'd get arrested.
What sort of evaluation are we giving out of this? What are we like? We're asking for $2 million for a 20% stake in our company or something.
I'm thinking at least 15 million.
Okay, 15.
Like, I don't want to mess around with, like, listen, if we're dangling from a shower ceiling, it's got to be heavy duty equipment. Because if you fuck it up, you're killing people. People are cracking their neck on the shower drain. Like, you can't mess this one up.
Oh man.
Wait, so I got a question. I'm sorry. I know we got to really get into
outrageously
this.
stupid.
So you're putting yourself in the harness, right? Like you don't have to like hire an employee to come to this house every day. Like, hey Earl, I'm gonna take a shower now. You want to put me in the thing and lift me? Okay, now it sounds dirty. But listen, is this mechanical? Is this like a button that you push on the? Do I have to install anything electrical?
It's a good question. I have 2 initial thoughts. One is a cranking system where you just like crank yourself up the ground. The other is literally like an elevator type of situation where you just press like an up and down button that'll lower you and and raise you.
Well, that works because some people are used to cranking in showers.
Okay.
All right, back to the list cast.
Good luck, Chris. Good luck, Chris. I don't know what this episode of scraps is going to look like, but good luck.
He's probably going to delete all of it because we.
Whoa, you disappeared.
Oh, we just lost Ryan.
I'm here.
Oh,
I was going to say
You're afraid to show your face.
he's probably going to delete all of it because of the slander that we laid against Italian food.
Sausage.
Oh boy, that was something. All right, well, yeah, let's
Edge defenders.
let's get back into our list because I don't know what just happened. I think I just
God.
Just peed a little.
No, I didn't. Nope. I don't know if I ever can or will again. And we are back on the POD cast, counting down your top 10 edge defenders for the 2021 season. It's still list cast season, baby. Let's get back into it. If you need a quick refresher on who our bottom 5 of the top 10 were, number 6, Nick Bosa. Number 7, Cameron Jordan. Number 8, Shaq Barrett. Number 9, Demarcus Lawrence. Number 10, Darius Smith. And now it's time to break into our top 5. Second-year player splashed onto the scene with 7.5 sacks last season, but looked pretty darn good doing it. The guy that we all wanted to be the Detroit Lions' new premier defender, Chase Young, is our number 5. Mike, talk to us about Chase Young.
He's the future of the position. I mean, like, flat out. You know, the guy, he's an absolute monster. And yes, he broke a lot of people's hearts were broken when the Washington football team took him second overall last year. But this guy, I think, is a guy that we're going to be talking about in that number 1, number 2 spot as early as like next year. Like I foresee, you know, I think there's going to be a big boom from this guy this year. Could use a little bit of work in the pass rush area. Surprisingly, he didn't grade out as well as I thought he would. Good against the run. I mean, 76 against the against the pass is not like the worst thing in the world. But like, I think once this guy gets to his peak, whenever that is, he is going to be like the most scariest defender in the league.
I'm all in on Chase Young, and because he's one of those guys who does it all, and he was a rookie last season. You know, in all things considered, I mean, how many rookies really struggled over the course of 2020? I mean, you had to look no further than Detroit to see, you know, the strugglings that come with just being a rookie in the NFL, and then on top of that, going through the season with the pandemic and everything. There were a lot of things stacked against Chase Young, a lot of expectations because of, you know, the high praise and all the accolades that he earned while playing at Ohio State, but an 87 overall grade, 82.8 in run defense. He has room to improve as a pass rusher by PFF's metrics, and that's the thing that's scary, is that because, as Mike says, like, the guy is going to put it all together, and he's the future of the position. Chase Young might catapult into the top 3 by the time we do the list next year.
Yeah, I don't think I would be surprised. I had him at 8 just because I need a little more prove it out of him. You know, I'm not doubting the man at all, and he's definitely going to be a top 10 guy. But yeah, like Mike said, I think it was actually a little bit surprising how modest his season was in terms of pass rush, 7.5 sacks, 76.5 PFF grade, which is 19th. But he actually, in terms of pass rush win rate, he did come in the top 10. He was 7th. So the, you know, depending on what metric you use, you know, he certainly wasn't a slouch in the pass rushing game. But if you're expecting a guy to like jump in and immediately be an elite guy, which, you know, we sometimes see with edge defenders. I mean, the Bosa brothers are you know, still very young and made an impact right away. And it's just one of those positions that you can do it. But like, he's right there. Like, he's right there in that conversation, and I just want to see him do it for another year. Essentially, that's really the only reason why he's not in my personal top 5. But I do think he'll eventually get there, if not this year, then in the very near future.
Oh yeah.
So let's move to that number 4 position. Move to another aforementioned Bosa brother. And Joey Bosa comes in at number 4. And the interesting thing about our list, and I can't imagine anyone remembers our list from last year, our top 4 remained the exact same as it did last year. But Ryan, tell us what you like about Joey Bosa.
Well, so this is the thing that his brother has to overcome, right? Is that early on, Joey struggled a little bit with injuries. His 2018 season, he missed some time, but bounced back in 2019 with 16 games. Last year, only played in 12. So it's about that thing of consistency, and the best ability is what everybody... Availability. Thank you. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, I think Bosa has proven that, like, he's going to be more healthy than not. And you have a guy who is, I think he's better than his brother, personally.
Yeah.
And I think that Nick has a lot of catching up to do. Joey is just, by PFF's metric, here's the stat form: the only active edge rusher with a pass rush win rate higher than 20% since 2016. And it's sitting at 22% or 22% since entering the league. Like, the guy has all the tools. When he starts playing more consistently, the numbers are going to start being mind-boggling.
And so, you had him, 7th on your list or something like that? And I imagine that's simply just injury-related, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Joey Bosa, and yeah, injury is literally the only concern. Otherwise, we're talking about top 2 guy, I think. Like, this is, you look across the board, you look at whatever statistical website you want to look at for pass rushing stats. PFF grade, he was 3rd last year. Pass rush grade, 90.5, 2nd in the NFL. ESPN's pass rush win rate, he was 5th. Pressures, 5th. Run defense, 5th. Or no, 1st, I'm sorry. Wait, no, 5th. PFF's pass rush productivity stat, which goes on a per down basis, 1st. The guy is top 5 across the board in just about any way you look at it. He just needs to stay on the field. And I think that's probably what has him on the outside of the top 3, at least in my opinion, because he could arguably be number 1. If he played a full 16-game season every year, I don't know if there would be an argument not to have this guy in the top 2 and not 2.
I got to say, I'm impressed by his the way he's sort of gotten better at the run defense. I'm just looking at his grades here from over his career, and he's gotten better every single year. He went from 63.5 to 69.2, 73.1, and now 83.1. I think that's just proof that this guy is just going to keep getting better and better, and he's doing the less sexy thing, which is stopping the run. I mean, everybody wants to look at the pass rushing ability and stuff, but this guy is doing both things. And I'm with you, Jeremy and Ryan. If he can stay healthy, which he has shown that he has a really hard time doing, he could be the number 1 guy.
All right, let's move into our top 3. Starting at tied for 2nd, because we got another tie on our list. Let's start with Khalil Mack is one of our top 2 guys. Ryan, you had Khalil Mack first, so I'm going to give the floor to you. Why is Khalil Mack to you the best edge defender in the league right now?
Well, you heard me mention earlier that there's only a couple of people ahead of Cameron Jordan when it comes to pressure since 2015. One of those guys is Aaron Donald. He's not an edge rusher or an edge defender. The other guy is Cleo Mack, and he is an edge defender. And you talk about a guy who is just as good as a pass rusher, and when I say just as good, I mean an all-pro pass rusher. He is an all-pro run defender. I mean, this guy does absolutely everything. Last season, he was first amongst edge defenders with a 92 run defense grade and a 90.8 pass rush grade. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. And he's done it so consistently at such a high level for so long. There's been 2 years, according to PFF, his rookie season and his second season in Chicago, where he didn't have an overall grade of below 90. Really good. Really, really good. The best, I would say, in the NFL.
Yeah, and just to give an idea of how good a 90 grade is, there were only 3 edge defenders last year who had a 90 or better. And Khalil Mack was the number one PFF graded edge defender with a 92.3 grade. But I would argue, can we really put someone who got stonewalled by Matt Nelson as your number one edge defender?
Slings and arrows, Jeremy. Slings and arrows.
No.
I just watched my entire argument crumble before my eyes.
I obviously say that in jest. He was my number 2, I believe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can really add anything that you didn't say, other than I guess my argument against him, my real argument against him was just is again age, and it's probably not fair because he's still only 30. But the consistency thing is really what's important to me, and yeah, guys had at least 8.5 sacks for 6 straight seasons. And like you said, he brings it in the run defense as well. He's just a guy you never take off the field. He's a guy you center your defense around, and a guy that I will be pleased as pie as soon as he gets the hell out of the division.
I've got nothing to add. You guys nailed it.
All right. Well, then let's move to the man who is tied with him at second on our list, and that man is Myles Garrett. I'll let you have first word on this one, Mike. Tell us where you had Myles Garrett and what you like or dislike about his game.
I had Myles Garrett at 2, and it's mostly because I put him above Khalil Mack. I had him at 3 because of the age. Myles is only 25 years old,
yep.
But also because he is a physical specimen. Like, my God, like, I know that you hate wrestling, Jeremy, but Ryan, if Vince McMahon could get his hands on this guy, right? Like, he would be all about it. Like, the dude is just he's a jacked monster. I mean, and he scares the hell out of me. And now he's going to have Jadeveon Clowney along with him. It's going to be really interesting to see what they can do. I think with the help that Clowney's going to bring, you're going to see an even better Myles Garrett, which who knows how much better he can get. Obviously, he struggles against the run, though, a little bit, which is kind of a concern, I guess. He scored at 76 on PFF against the run, which is, a lot lower than what Khalil got, which was in the 90s. But I just think that you give this guy a little bit more time to grow. You build, the defense up around him as they are doing, and he's going to continue to show out. Either that or he's going to hit you with your helmet. One of those two things.
And to your point, like 9.99 RAS, definitely a physical specimen of which there really aren't that many. And yeah, I mean, to me, it was obvious from his first snap that he was going to be something special. And, 3 straight 10-plus sack seasons, despite the fact that he missed 2 games last year and 6 the year before it. I'm assuming that's going to be Ryan's big drawback on Myles Garrett, whom he had 5th on his list. Is just the injury concerns? Is that another thing?
Injuries a little bit, more so just that complete player that Mike kind of alluded to.
Yeah.
Just kind of an average run defender.
Sure.
And it's not one of those things where it was like just 1 year. It was like the past couple of seasons, in part due to the injuries, I think, as well. So maybe those are kind of taking a toll, because his one fully healthy season, he did score above an 80 as a run defender. So, there's no arguing that Myles Garrett's a top 5, like, edge defender, I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I just like, as soon as Cleveland becomes even a tad more relevant. I know they just made the playoffs for the first time and all that stuff. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like for some reason Myles Garrett is still getting slightly overlooked, and that's probably not true at all. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler in 4 years, but I don't know. I just feel like he sometimes can be outside of the conversation of the Bosas and the Cleo Macks, and our number 1 edge defender of 2021. TJ Watt, for the second year in a row, is our number 1 edge defender. Ryan, let's go back to you. Talk to me about TJ Watt.
Yeah, so TJ Watt is really good. Hashtag analysis, right? Like, TJ Watt is, I think, he's every bit the player that Khalil Mack is. Like, I think that they are Both elite against the run, but TJ Watt, I mean, you can't really argue with the stats. I mean, like, if you're talking about a guy who's a pass rusher, leads all edge defenders in sacks and quarterback hits since 2019, and just short of Shaq Barrett, who had an insane amount of pressures. But he's legitimately like one of the top 3 edge defenders in the NFL. And like, he's not 3. So I think it's him and Khalil Mack. I think that they're 1 and 2. They're almost interchangeable to me. TJ Watt is just so productive, right? Like, the productivity is what just smacks you in the face when you think about TJ Watt.
Yeah, no question. 13 sacks in 2018, 14 and a half in 2019, 15 in 2020. That's ridiculous. Yep. That is a 3-year stretch that is only matched by some of the best to ever do it. And you look at just last season, led the league in sacks, second in PFF grade amongst edge defenders, third in pass rush, second in run defense. So he's balanced. Second in overall pressures according to PFF. First in ESPN's pass rush win rate, and then PFF's pass rush productivity stat, second. So, like, yeah, you're right. Like, there's no arguing that he is outside of the top 3, and he's probably not 3, and to me, he's not 2 either. I think he's the clear number 1, and it's what's frustrating is he went to the Steelers, because the Steelers always have good defenders, and he fell what was that, like 22, 23, or 24 or something in the draft?
30.
He was 30 in the draft. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? How does he get there when everyone was just like, he's a Watt, he's going to be good, came from Wisconsin. They know what they're doing sometimes. It's ridiculous.
I'm just amazed that, I mean, the guy, he just took to it like a fish and takes to water. Like, he was just incredible from the jump. Like, this is what the Bosas wish that they could be. Like, yeah, they have good seasons to start off, but like, they don't step to that next level. TJ Watt stepped to that next level, and he's only 26 years old. And he should have been Defensive Player of the Year this past season, by the way. Like, I mean, that, I don't like Aaron Donald, no disrespect, but like TJ Watt had an incredible season, and he's going to continue to have incredible seasons. Like, I think that this guy's a Hall of Famer. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and declare it right here and now.
Calling it.
TJ Watt.
Calling his shot.
TJ and JJ are both Hall of Famers.
JJ, no question. TJ's got some work to do, but he's certainly well on his way.
And there's another Watt too, but like, I don't know who he is.
They're doesn't surprise me that they're a breeding bunch over there. I don't know what that means. Anyways, let me recap our edge defenders list. Starting at the bottom, 10, Darius Smith, 9, Demarcus Lawrence, 8, Shaq Barrett, 7, Cameron Jordan, 6, Nick Bosa, 5, Chase Young, 4, Joey Bosa. Tied for second is Myles Garrett and Khalil Mack, and our number 1 edge defender for the second year in a row is TJ Watt, and that is our list cast. We did it, guys.
Yeah, we did it. 2 down.
2 down, 4 more to go. Next week, running backs. That's going to be an interesting one. I'm very excited to see who we have at running backs, because that like edge defenders, 8 of the 10 that we had on last year's list stayed on the list. Running backs is a much more volatile position, so I have to imagine we'll see some movement there. And so make sure you're with us next time for that. We'll be live here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit. Monday night, probably around 6 p.m., but it might change a little bit, so make sure you're following us on Twitter for announcements for that. For Mike, for Ryan, I'm Jeremy. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next week. It's chaos. Be kind.